I love Warhammer 40k like most of you. Why would you be watching this otherwise? But there's one thing that I can't get out of my mind is that the Emperor of Mankind is either useless or he's the bad guy. Now, let me clarify why I think that's the case, although I think that it's obvious when you start thinking about it yourselves. The man was born 8,000 years ago, and 8,000 BC, so 10,000 years ago, and he ended up like this after 30,000 or 30,000 AD, right? So for 15,000 years at least, or 17,000 years at least, between 2000 or 8, oh my god, it's even longer, 23,000 years, the guy ended up hiding from humanity that we're aware of before the golden age of humanity. So the golden age of humanity is between 15,000 AD and 25,000 AD. And during that time period, I assume humanity is powerful enough to realize, hey, we got this immortal guy that's hanging around on Earth all the time. So what I think is he was going off sleeping with women around the galaxy. So during the age of technology, between 15,000 AD and 25,000 AD, we create we get the technological revolution, and we create the Men of Iron. And then after that, they become the Men of Iron turn against us, and then humanity is almost destroyed. Where was the Emperor? He was nowhere. He wasn't preparing. He wasn't doing anything. I really do think that he was going off trying to propagate his seed. So his inaction during humanity's greatest technological existential crisis demonstrates his neglect or his uselessness, or he was the bad guy again. So during the Age of Strife, between 25,000 and 30,000 AD, and we had all these warp storms, he's apparently back on Earth, and he's just watching the chaos unfold, and then decides, hey, you know what, I'm going to unite humanity altogether after that. So he starts off with the Unification Wars in late 30,000 AD. So as during the Unification Wars, instead of like bringing out one of these STCs from his back pocket, which he could have saved from a long time ago, he had thousands of years to do it. He could actually theoretically build his own STC. He should have had that amount of knowledge. Instead, he builds a big bunch of brutish soldiers and then beats humanity into submission here on Earth, removing all other religions and saying atheism is the way, and we have to have logical scientific process. It doesn't share it at all, except for his own army, and yeah, it goes on from there, right? So the Emperor, he went off then on his Great Crusade throughout the galaxy, fighting everybody along the way after. So here's the Unification Wars, what Earth looked like at that time period. I don't know how the water disappeared. And he creates all his sons, who half of which he treats really badly, and he even knew that they were going to go against him. Like, the guy, according to Malgador, ended up saying, yeah, we expect that this will be the case. So this implies that he is a bad guy, in my opinion. So he has the Great Crusade, killing people along the way, until he meets another advanced race called the Interex, and he's going to go, like, he's not here at this point in the story from what I recall, but the Interex, without humans from Earth and without the Emperor interfering, were advanced, talked to other alien races, were capable, and were able to defend themselves, and in some ways were more advanced than people of Earth. So without him around, we would have had pockets of other human civilizations that were more advanced, that had good friendly relations with their neighboring alien species, that could have, potentially made us more of a less specialized society in the late 40k time period, and instead more diversified and therefore more capable of handling different kinds of threats, which I think also would have made it a more engaging story, but that's besides the point. So his aggressive policies to eradicated potential allies and stifled diverse human advancements. Okay, so the Primarchs and the Horus Heresy. So he created super intelligent, powerful sons and not to mention the custodies, which were basically human beings, but just more advanced, unlike space marines, which were human beings but with like extra organs shoved into them. The custodies were like superhuman, again, all just to serve him, right? The guy is a brute. He doesn't think about how to help others. It's like how to get something to work for him in the way that he works, right? And because he kept a secret from all of his sons, Magnus the Red ended up crashing through and breaking it and causing chaos to go wild, which I contend he is a chaos god. He is trying to cause this stuff because of all the strife that occurs and all the wars that happen. He ends up getting more and more powerful, and people need him even more. So the Emperor failed to build a trusting relationship with his kids. He delegated leadership to Horus without proper guidance. His poor leadership and secrecy led to the heresy, causing untold devastation. I think, again, on purpose. Now, I said earlier that I think that the Emperor was going off and sleeping around the galaxy, meeting all these other people, and I think that the result of that, which Alpha Brusa mentioned it before, is that we have all these psychers, and these psychers are now being fed to the Emperor, who is sitting on the throne. Oh, sorry, that's for the next bit. So we've had, with the psychers being connected to the throne, keeping him alive, but he's basically feeding off of his own youth, in my opinion. And this is just so we can have a lighthouse in the middle of the galaxy. I don't get it fully. Anywho, so the technological regression and lost knowledge. So I put up the European Union there because everybody jokes that they don't actually push technology forward anymore. I think it's kind of rubbish, but it still suits for the joke. The loss of STC systems. The man was around for 20-something thousand years. At least 10,000 years of that was around STCs and all those cool toys that he could have saved. Manuscripts, books, crystals, anything to store that knowledge. So again, he did not prioritize the preservation or recovery of STCs. His focus on militaristic conquest over technological preservation hindered humanity's growth. So, not only that, strengthening of the enemies of and galactic strife. So because of how the orcs work, the more you attack them, the more powerful they get, because they increase in power to attack you. Had he not gone off in the Crusade and gone off to destroy all the other Xenos, the orcs wouldn't be as powerful as they are today. And as we said earlier, the Interex were actually friendly with the, or somewhat friendly with the Eldar. There was other human species that were bordering Tau that would have also been, prime candidates to be friends with the Tau. And instead, he's just managed to annoy the Tau, annoy the Eldar, make the orcs stronger, and created a less diversification of technology by trying to force everybody into his own stupid system. And so therefore the galaxy itself is less capable of thinking about how they're going to handle the Tyranid invasion. And he didn't warn anybody about the Necrons and how they were around, despite the fact that he probably would have met people like Trajan, because he was around 10,000 BC, and Trajan was around at that same time period, so theoretically he could have met him. Trajan was observing us, back then. And now the Eldar, I think, was as monkeys. And so that's what I think about his response to the Tyranids, the Eldar, the Tau, and now we're back into the Emperor's immortality and potential rebirth. So he has this, the Emperor is kept in a state of between life. Even though he is a perpetual, that when he dies, he will probably be reborn. And I get that it's important to keep the lighthouse shining, but the belief that the Imperium believes his continued existence is vital. So he didn't give much information about what would happen after he dies. Now, maybe he hasn't died before and he's not too sure, but, you know, feeding him 1,000 psychers a day, which could be trained to, like, either guide ships through the warp or potential soldiers in the war against Chaos or the Eldar or the Tyranids, you know, allowing him to die might allow a rebirth of himself, and we can get this terrible, useless, bad guy leader back in charge of his terrible, useless, horrible empire that is, or should crumble. Anyway, in summarization, this is my opinion about the Emperor of Mankind. He is the most useless leader that I can imagine. He is probably thick as dog shit, and I have no respect for the man in any way, shape, or form. Thank you for watching my video, and I'll be back on my tech stuff later. Bye.